learner-centric, and he gets to decide to frame his own qualification. This is what is called multidisciplinary right from the school. Now, taking up this multidisciplinary aspect to the higher technical education, as part of the higher technical education, multidisciplinary it comes in two aspects. Number one happens to be in academics. Number two happens to be in institution. Let us first talk about academics. Multidisciplinary in academics happens to be offering certain amount of subjects to the students, so the student gets to pick and choose his subjects with lots and lots of intermixing collaboration between the departments, between the disciplines, outside the engineering disciplines, between the industry, for the purpose of having a wholesome growth. What has been recommended is a ratio of 60-20-20. The first 60 is further divided into 40 plus 20, with 40 happens to be your core principal subjects, balance second 20 happens to be the core electives, the third 20 happens to be your basic sciences and humanities. Prashant sir, you need to mute yourself. Prashant sir, yeah, you need to mute yourself. And the last 20 happens to be the open electives. And why this word of open electives that I am talking? The open electives are being given with a very, very important and pertinent reason, because the NEP speaks about that a graduate who is to be now getting graduated from higher education, need not necessarily from technical education, should have a sufficient knowledge about agriculture, health and legal. If he is supposed to be having a reasonable amount of knowledge about agriculture, health and legal, which is now being called as a professional education, chapter 20 of the NEP, then in that case, you need to be giving the student an opportunity to study these. How do you give student an opportunity to study these? These are to be made as professional credit-based courses, which can be offered as an open elective in the bracket or in the basket. And student can then they pick and choose. But we at AICT have recommended why only agriculture, health and legal, go beyond. You can have Indian music, you can have Indian dance, you can have Indian constitution, the environment, you can have universal human values, you can put in sports, you can put in Indian knowledge system. There are many more subjects which can keep be framed and be put as part of the open elective. So this is where a student, when he comes out of the 40-20-20-20 bracket in which I said he is going to be a multidisciplinary student who will be having a fair share of knowledge of his specific discipline per se in totality, and in addition he would also be exposed to various other disciplines which are having a collaboration and a direct impact. This isn't done with a specific purpose aligned to the industry and international requirements, because today outside there is no particular one engineering discipline or industry which can be a single system. It's a system of systems wherein every individual system is a multiple system in itself. This is what is called as a multidisciplinary aspect. However, when we talk of multidisciplinary institutions, recollect my talk in the beginning. The first thing which I told in the beginning only, that there is always some shortfall or some issues which are supposed to be addressed. That is why a particular policy always comes in. And the shortfall or the point which is supposed to be addressed as far as this policy has come in happens to be about multidisciplinary. When we say about this particular aspect of multidisciplinary, it is because of individual institutes which are existing in vertical silos. There is absolutely lack of cooperation between a department, within a department, between an institute, within an institute, and every institute mushrooming and then growing in their own respective independence. So what has been recommended is that in the times to come, there will be no single institute who would be there in isolation. There is going to be an institute who would be offering multidisciplinary conceptual teaching and learning. Towards this, there are many recommendations. Some of them happens to be larger interaction between the various institutes. Some of them happens to be sharing of the resources, sharing of the infrastructure, sharing of faculty members, virtual laboratories. At the same time, AICT also has gone about to amend its particular guidelines and regulations of the approval handbook, and we have also allowed for sharing or merging of the institutes from the existing 2 kilometers pertaining to a respective company or a trust to within the city limits. This can be done, and they can be done by many more means, and the many more means happens to be that within the same campus we can have, actually speaking, engineering courses being run in the morning, and then you can have the polytechnic in the evening. That is how you can also become a multidisciplinary. There are various options which are coming out. But ultimately, an institute has to be moving towards multidisciplinary. And when the institute moves towards multidisciplinary, another very important and relevant aspect happens to be these multidisciplinary higher education